the set, I've been killing shit. Niggas ain't got no respect for my diligence. Always the topic, bitch, follow your syllabus. Control your mouth like a fucking ventriloquist. Killing shit, killing shit.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of TripleF, the podcast. Before we get things kicked off today, I want to give a shout out to my man Shawn Smith out of Philly. And he just dropped his new album called The Shawn Smith Story, and that was his track called Young Curry. So if you want to hear that track again or want to listen to the entire album, check out his link in the information section below. All right, so, man next to me, Phillip Brown. This is an idea we've been kicking around for years now, right?
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Never really had the best media platform to do it, but what we are going to do today is seek out, if there was an ass-kicking contest amongst NFL head coaches, who would win that? But before we jump into that, so Phil, he's kind of my residential football guy. If Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is still on, I was in that last question, I could phone a friend, and the question was related to football, more than likely I would call you.
I'm very honored that you would say that about me.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, so what we did for today's podcast, basically broke the 32 NFL head coaches down into a bracket. And what we wanted to do is kind of simulate them in an MMA-style fight. So they'd be fighting in an octagon. It would be three-minute rounds. And pretty much all the rules of MMA would apply to see who is the most badass head coach in the NFL. So what we're going to do is go down AFC, NFC, and provide some insight on what actually happened and what we think and, how the fight would play out. But we're going to try to save you as much time as we possibly can. So I think the number one seed for the AFC, we have Mike Tomlin against Andy Reid.
Titanic match up there.
Yeah, we're not going to waste your time giving too much analysis with that. We'll just tell you who won and how long it took, which should be relatively short. But a little bit more about the seeding. So I came up with the seeding for the AFC coaches.
Yes.
Phil's going to be doing the answering for the AFC. He came up with the seeding for the NFC. I'm going to decide the winners of the AFC or NFC matchups. All right, so our first NFC matchup, we have Dan Quinn of the Atlanta Falcons against the Detroit Lions head coach Jim Caldwell. All right, so Caldwell, he's survived in Detroit for a little bit.
That's pretty impressive. So, in fact, now that I think about that, maybe he should have been a little bit lower than that 16 seed.
All right, I'm gonna save some people some time. I think Quinn wins TKO first round, and I think it only takes 30 seconds.
Would Jim Caldwell's facial expression change during this fight?
Probably not.
Okay,
Probably not.
I agree with that.
Probably not.
No argument there.
All right, so we have Dan Quinn moving on. Next, Riverboat Ron Rivera of the Carolina Panthers against Ben McAdoo of the Giants. I like the seating on this one, man. I think that Rivera, he's a guy I definitely wouldn't want to piss off, man.
Yeah, like how Rivera, he's probably his mid-50s now, late 50s. Is he even older than that? But I think I would be afraid of him. He'd kick my ass.
Yeah.
And he'd definitely kick Ben McAdoo's ass.
Yeah, so for this one, I had Rivera knockout first round. And here's the kind of the highlight knockout of the first round of this competition. Ron Rivera, he lives up to the nickname. And I think he comes out immediately with a flying knee, connects with Ben McAdoo, end of the fight.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
You see it?
I can't picture Ben McAdoo doing any kind of physical activity.
No.
So I don't know what he would. So Jim Caldwell's expression doesn't change. I don't know if Ben McAdoo's posture would change. Before he could radio in some help. Flying knee right to the face.
I don't even see McAdoo even moving, actually. I just see the bell ringing, him just standing in place, Rivera charging, hits him with the knee. It's done.
I always have this fun thing with my friends I watch football with. Ben McAdoo, I feel like I could view him in several different other professions. I always think he was like a middle school science teacher. Someone told me truck driver. There's been a few others that are not similar in any way to professions, but I'm like, I can see that. It must be like haircut and mustache. And But Ben McAdoo not lasting long with Riverboat Ron, that's for sure.
All right, so if we move on to our next fight, the third-rated Doug Pederson of the Philadelphia Eagles against 14 seed Mike McCarthy of the Green Bay Packers. So before I even give an answer to this, why do you rank Pederson so high?
I was hoping you'd ask me that. With my rankings, what it comes down to mostly is like former players. How much am I? That carries a lot of weight. Guys that played in the NFL, guys I can remember. Obviously, Dan Quinn, Ron Rivera, these are guys that would be defensive standouts. Pretty sure Dan Quinn played defense in college, Salisbury University. And Doug Pederson, he just played quarterback, Brett Favre's backup, started bridging McNabb there to start Philadelphia. Doug Pederson looks like he's in good shape. And he's not really old. Like, I think Doug Peterson's probably in his 40s still. And he appears to be in pretty good physical shape. So I said, you know what? Okay. Who's better than him now? Like, Sean McVay, like, don't really know a lot about him. Zimmer's coming up. Like, he's a little older. He's going to be scrappy. I just couldn't make a case for a lot of other guys besides for Quinn and Rivera over him. Now, maybe as we go on throughout this, we can look and say, well, maybe this guy should have been up a little bit more. Maybe this guy should have been. But I think Doug Peterson, I didn't think that going in that Doug Pederson was going to be my number 3, but I was looking at the other coaches. The AFC is probably like a 7 or 8 seed at best. But the NFC, yeah.
All right.
Well, justification there.
I'm calling upset on this one.
Okay.
I think he goes all 3 rounds, and I see McCarthy being gritty. I see him being the tougher fighter. Obviously, I think he's going to be a little bit bigger as well. You know, he's one of those guys, he's a cold-blooded killer. He's on the Packers sideline. He may or may not be coaching the game. He just has that cold demeanor, and I think that gets him through a 3-round fight and a win over Pederson.
I think Mike McCarthy's one of these coaches that even though he won a Super Bowl every year, it's like people want to get rid of him, and I'm not disagreeing with that sometimes, but he's managed to survive. So in a fight here against Doug Pederson, there's a little bit of a Green Bay connection. If Doug Pederson spent some time there. McCarthy, I'd just be worried about him with the girth. McCarthy, he seems like he's always adding a little bit more on Doug Pederson, but still sometimes that there's stuff hidden underneath that. So maybe what's down deep inside, or maybe
that's what I'm going for. What's deep inside on this one? So.
I'm not going to fight you on that. It's Doug Pederson. It's the Eagles going out early in this, so not to be biased or anything.
All right, so our next matchup, number 4, the youngest NFL head coach in the league, and Sean McVay of the Los Angeles Rams. I always mess that up. Going against number 13, Jay Gruden of the Washington Redskins.
Former boss.
Yes.
Nice little WWE style. There's a background to the feud there.
I think Sean McVay, he's too young. There's too much energy. I think it takes him all 3 rounds, but he does get the unanimous decision over Jay Gruden. What do you think?
Yeah, I think since I referenced wrestling, good thing we're doing MMA because this WWE might have a John Gruden run in at this point. That could actually be the better feud. People like, why is Jay Gruden in this? It should be John Gruden. But for this style, I think McVay would take him. Like I said, I can't even picture what McVay looks like. I've seen McVay before, but I'm like, well, he's really young. He's on my age. I think he could.
Still got that testosterone running through his body, man. He can gut it for 9 different
I think Jay Gruden would be busy like chatting up the referee, talking to the game. McVay would come and knock the shit out of him.
All right, so our next fight, number 5, Mike Zimmer of the Vikings, at the ripe age of 60 years old, against number 12, Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers. All right, so I'll say this. I think Zimmer is probably in my top 3 of NFL head coaches that I would not want to piss off.
Oh, I agree.
I think that he has a temper, and I think that temper could make him one of those guys. Like, he comes out in an MMA fight, and he's pretty much just throwing haymakers until the opponent goes down. I think that's the case in this particular matchup. Kyle Shanahan, he's, I'm going to say he has low fight IQ. I mean, he left, a team that went to the Super Bowl to go to the 49ers, take that for whatever it's worth. But I think Zimmer comes out with the haymakers, lands a couple, and Shanahan goes down in the first.
And speaking of the Super Bowl, last time he was in there, he had his opponent down. He did not run the ball.
There we go.
Not to rub that in for any Falcons fans out there. Also, too, with Zimmer, being 60 years old, he had eye surgery last year, he had all these ailments. Still would not want to fuck with that guy.
Yes.
And I think with Shanahan, I see even Shanahan, I could picture him like cowering down. Cowering down when Zimmer comes like please don't hit me, Mike.
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, so our next matchup, number 6 ranked Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints against number 11 Jason Garrett of the Cowboys. All right, so I don't know. Sean Payton comes out as the type of guy. I could see him actually, training in martial arts. I remember that year that he was off from coaching. He pretty much lifted and he gained like 15, 20 pounds of muscle or something, right? And Jason Garrett, I think he is the guy who would avoid confrontation at all costs.
I agree.
I think he would spend those 3 rounds literally just running around the octagon trying to avoid Sean Payton. I don't think Payton would catch up to him, so I'm going to say Payton by unanimous decision after the 3 rounds are fought. What do you think?
Yeah, it's another accidental good history with the matchup there where Jason Garrett, Cowboys offensive coordinator, later head coach, Sean Payton, offensive coordinator with the Cowboys for a while, 2 former backup quarterbacks. Full disclosure, I am a Cowboys fan. I'm nothing against Jason Garrett. I think he's a good coach. Looks like a massive pussy. Pretty sure how you describe that is exactly how it would go.
In a kinder manner.
Yeah, I just think Payton is... he has a little bit of tenacity to him.
I think he fights while chewing gum, too.
Oh, definitely.
I could see him doing that.
And Jason Garrett, though, I will say, whatever guys go on the sidelines and make a defensive play, he's always pushing them all the time.
Okay, there we go.
That's all he does. So I don't know if he tried to Payton and he just punch him in the face back. And
With 3 seconds in the round, then he runs up to Payton and just gives him a push.
Yeah, good job. He would he'd be kind of guy who congratulated too and smile. It's like, you're just running around for 3 rounds. Then come on.
All right, so if we go on to our next matchup, this is one of the more interesting ones that you sent my way. So we have the 7th-ranked John Fox of the Chicago Bears against number 10, Bruce Arians of the Arizona Cardinals. All right, so I'm one of the big Bruce Arians fans out there. I really like his demeanor. I think he's a tough guy. And John Fox just comes off as a guy who he just seems very low-key and reserved to me. I think Arians goes out there, he pushes the pressure, and he ends up with our first submission in the first round. I think rear naked choke. I could just see Arians, mounted on John Fox's back and just choking him out. That's just what I see. John Fox already has that red face to begin with, so Arians just sinks in the choke and forces him to tap. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, too, with this one, another history to the matchup, both these guys had heart attacks or heart problems. That's really why I ranked Arians number 10. I'm thinking, this guy has heart trouble. I think he's a guy that
he's in trouble after round 2. Round 1, he's good.
Yeah, I thought he would have trouble in a fight. And then John Fox, it's weird because pre-Broncos John Fox, I looked at oh man, this guy's a tough guy. He was with the Panthers and he was the Giants defensive coordinator back in the day. I felt like when he went to the Broncos, especially when Manning got there, I just viewed John Fox, he's just a puppet. And then he went to the Bears, who were terrible. Or have been terrible so far with him there.
And John Fox is coming off that recent injury, getting raped earlier this month in the NFL draft. So you got to factor that in. So
the worst part about that is he apparently didn't even know that was a plan, which I think emasculates him even more. So again, not going to fight you on that with Arians. And I thought with Arians going into this, I would not have expected out of him a 10. I actually was thinking, he might be closer to the top, but that was the health problems. That's what gets me with it. So.
We'll go with it. He pulls out the upset
That's fine.
in this one. All right, then our last first-round matchup of the NFC, we have Dirk Koetter of my Tampa Bay Buccaneers up against Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks. So I think out of all of our matchup, these guys probably look the most similar to one another. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's why you matched them up or not.
No, it's just those are the last 2.
Yeah, but I think this would be an excellent fight. If I watched all of these 8 fights that we've talked about so far, which one would probably be the most entertaining? I think this could literally go on for all 3 rounds. Pete Carroll, he's a high-energy guy. Mm-hmm. Dirk Koetter, he's a little bit more reserved, but I could see him potentially kicking somebody's ass too. But I have Pete Carroll pulling this one out by split decision, goes all 3 rounds. It's the fight of the night. What do you think?
The thing with Pete Carroll is people look at him, it's like, oh man, why Pete Carroll? He's so youthful, he has all this energy. Pete Carroll's old, he's the oldest coach on this one. And Belichick's the only coach older than Pete Carroll in the league. And I had to still factor that in, even though he does have the youthful exuberance there. But in Dirk Koetter, Pete Carroll, I think that's very evenly matched. I view them as, I agree with you, being very similar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the age. Obviously, Dirk Cutter's a little bit younger.
58.
I think that would be a good matchup between the two. So it's your perfect 8-9 matchup there. Yeah.
All right, so now that we have the NFC wrapped up for the first round, we are going to move on to the AFC. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, so in the AFC, with the seeding there, as Kyle said at the beginning of this, he did the seeding for the AFC, much like we just did there, and I picked the winner. So we start off with Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid. Okay, that is our first matchup. Now, size discrepancy there. Andy Reid, big size advantage.
You're actually analyzing this one.
Yeah. Well, I want to just say a little bit. So give Andy Reid. So let's not just say, hey, Andy Reid, big heavy guy, and Mike Tomlin. I'm sorry, man. Mike Tomlin, though, Andy Reid's got size advantage. Mike Tomlin knocked it out. So he is. But the Tomlin, he has a lot of fire to him as well. Andy Reid's so boring. Living in I'm not an Eagles fan, but living in that general area, having to hear Andy Reid press conferences over the years, oh my God, so boring.
All right, so what round do you have?
So Mike Tomlin he'd fight the urge to fall asleep, and he would take Andy Reid out, I'd say, pretty early.
Okay.
I just Andy
Reid first round?
Yeah, Andy Reid doesn't have the stamina to do it. He just doesn't.
All right. Moving on to the next one.
And we got Vance Joseph, the first-year head coach. I'm sorry, Anthony Lynn. I'm already confusing them. Anthony Lynn of the Los Angeles Chargers, didn't make the San Diego mistake there, versus Bill Belichick. There's this urge that I've had to say, well, Bill Belichick, he's so crafty, he always finds ways to come up with things that he'll go and find a way to win. Not against Anthony Lynn.
No.
Anthony Lynn, good shape, much younger guy. We just stated when talking about Pete Carroll that Bill Belichick is the oldest coach. I think Belichick would manage to survive a little bit, though. He is just so crafty.
Yeah, I see Belichick like on his videos. He does his little coaching and his analysis and his game film from a treadmill. I think he could be on the treadmill 24/7. He's still not beating Anthony Lynn.
No, he's not. He'd survive into the second round a little bit.
Okay, he's giving him second round. You're giving him second round.
He's Jim Rat. All right, then after that we have Vance Joseph, first-year coach of the Broncos, versus Chuck Pagano. Now with this one, again, it seems like an easy. Vance Joseph takes out Chuck Pagano. Chuck Pagano, did he survive cancer? Chuck Strong, remember that?
Yes.
He's managed, and I get fired by the Colts shit. Not all that's his fault. The GM didn't really do him any favors there. But, again, just the AFC, it seems like it's very top-heavy. I think Vance Joseph dispatches Pagano. Probably first round.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And after that, Jack Del Rio. Talking about former players before, Jack Del Rio versus Adam Gase. I think Adam Gase might be lucky to be alive after this one.
Jack Del Rio, he's another one of those guys, man, where you're like, this dude's 54, but I'm still sure he could probably fuck up like 99% of the people walking around on the street.
He played middle linebacker in the NFL, and he hung around for a couple years, and he wasn't a superstar, but he played for like the Cowboys, Vikings. He hung around for a while. And
he's a gum chewer, too, like Sean Payton.
Yeah. Also likes to have his guys swinging an axe in the locker room. Or he used to, I guess. We can't do that anymore. But Jack Del Rio, yeah.
Couldn't do that in Oakland, man.
You can't do that in Oakland, yeah. Probably not the best idea. We'll see how that transfers to Las Vegas when we get there. All right, so yeah, Jack Del Rio dispatches Adam Gase. After that, Doug Marrone making his return to the silence as the head coach for the Jaguars versus Hue Jackson of the Browns. And, Hue Jackson, give him crazy guy. You can see being a little bit feisty.
He's creative.
Yeah,
he's creative, too.
I think he would give Marrone a little bit of trouble, but I think Marrone, the size advantage, he's another guy that just looks like he's powerful. Doug Marrone's very
6'5",
very bland.
269, according to Wikipedia, for anyone wondering out there.
Yeah, people probably want to look at it and say, oh man, Hugh Jackson get Doug Marrone, he's so boring. Yeah, sometimes boring wins. I think Marrone takes it there. Yeah. After that, Todd Bowles, former defensive back here, the head coach of the Jets, versus Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis, he's
another survivor like Jim Caldwell.
Oh, man, you can't discount that. And yet, that's life skills there. Marvin Lewis, he used to be on crutches there for a while. He had hip issues, and Todd Bowles looks like he's in good shape still. Yeah. Todd Bowles doesn't look like it looks like it takes a lot to get him angry, but I still think he would not have much of a problem with Marvin Lewis. The AFC is very top heavy.
So you do not have an upset so far.
Not yet.
2 matches left.
We had 2 matches left. We had Bill O'Brien of the Texans versus Sean McDermott now of the Buffalo Bills. I think here, this is a very interesting one. Looking at Bill O'Brien's size advantage, but Sean McDermott, man, I think he's very fiery. And I just think O'Brien he can be such an overconfident dickhead that I think he would.
He just walks into him with his hands down.
He tried like paintbrush him a little bit, kind of push around. Sean McDermott would just knock him out, and O'Brien would be like the bully. He would cower. I think McDermott would have enough fight and kind of outlast him there in the third round and pull off the upset.
Are you going with a decision or a knockout?
Go by decision.
Decision, okay.
Because I think with size, it'd be hard for him to knock him out. I picture McDermott being very, very small. What's his size there, McDermott? Do you have his height?
He's 43 years old, man.
43 years old.
I can only do so much research.
Yeah, some of these guys, these new coaches, it's hard to visualize them sometimes, but I envision being a smaller guy. O'Brien. O'Brien's a guy started arguing with Tom Brady on the sideline, so he has no problem getting in people's face, and he has a temper. And I think this is one where McDermott could get the upset.
All right.
So that's your upset there. Mike Mularkey up next here against John Harbaugh. And John Harbaugh, there's always the inevitable comparison of John Harbaugh versus Jim Harbaugh. How you view the two.
Completely different sides of the fence.
Yeah, I just think Jim Harbaugh looks very fiery, and he complains as he's just very fiery. You can see him being very violent. John Harbaugh just whines and complains so much. It takes a lot for me watching Ravens games. I'm not a fan of the Ravens or anything, but I have no reason to dislike them. I just never warm up to John Harbaugh. Against Mike Mularkey here. Mike Mularkey, probably the definition of generic, boring head coach. I think
Remember the stats, though. 6'4", 245. Just throwing that out there.
6'4", 245.
Just throwing it out there.
He's a little bit older, too.
Okay.
He's been around a bit. I think John Harbaugh would take him there. Okay. John Harbaugh doesn't impress me too much, but I think he has enough to take Mularkey.
All right. Yeah. Method round? What do you call
I would say I think Harbaugh would probably get him by submission third round.
Submission?
Yeah, submission third round.
Right.
It would take him a while to get him down and wear him down a little bit. But I think he would get him. Just malarkey's nothing there that sticks out to me.
As you can see, with this completely foolish topic, we have put in crazy analysis and thought, and we've had years to do it, so it is. It's actually coming to fruition. Yeah. All right, so if we move on to... We're good on time. We can move to the second round. All right, so if we move on to the second round for the NFC, we have number 1 ranked seed Dan Quinn of the Falcons up against 14th seed Mike McCarthy of the Packers. So McCarthy, that was our first upset of the tournament. I think he runs into a juggernaut that is Dan Quinn, and Quinn gets the TKO within 30 seconds yet again.
Yes.
See that?
No, nothing even add to that. Yeah.
McCarthy, he's good with his one and done. He's fine with that. His rep goes up a little bit. Yeah. Dan Quinn, he's still in it for the long run. Mm-hmm. All right, second fight, back to Riverboat Ron versus Bruce Arians. As much as I like Arians, I don't think he can possibly do this. I think that Arians survives for a round, though. I think he's tough enough to survive for a round, and then Rivera finishes him with a TKO early in the second round.
It's the one where the referee's trying to stop it, and Arians is like, don't you dare stop this. Yeah. I'm going to knock him out. And then the second round starts. Like, it's just Riverboat Ron would be too much for him. Yeah, there's just too much at that point. All right, so our third matchup, youngest head coach. He's got that testosterone running around. Sean McVay of the Rams against Pete Carroll of the Seahawks. Say he's like, Pete Carroll's like the oldest, youngest coach.
Yes,
right?
yes. So we have the actual youngest coach against the oldest, youngest coach. Yeah. I'm going to go upset again on this one, man. I think Pete Carroll pulls it out.
I agree with you.
You do?
I do.
Okay, all right. I think he goes all 3 rounds, and it's a split decision, though. I could see that happening.
Okay.
I think he goes. Yeah, I think it's a good little battle the entire time. McVay, he gets overwhelmed by the vast knowledge of Pete Carroll, and McVay comes out swinging the first round, then goes back to his corner and thinks, "What the hell am I going to possibly do to put this guy away?" You can't. Yeah, Pete Carroll's still too young and hard. Gets it done in the third round.
I think the judges would respect that.
Yes.
So Pete Carroll gets a little bit of advantage. Man, this guy, he survives the third round.
He's looking like Rocky at the end of the third round, but I see Carroll coming out on top with this one. Yeah. All right, so next, Mr. Red-Faced Mike Zimmer of the Vikings up against Sean Payton. So this is 5 versus 6. I'm going to go Sean Payton on this one. I think Zimmer is a little bit older, like I alluded to earlier. Payton, I think he stays in shape. He's a creative guy. I'm going to say Zimmer lasts a round, but Sean Payton gets the TKO in the second round. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if this was a first-round matchup, I would give Zimmer a little bit more. Say that, he might be able to go and take this, but being in the second round, I think he would be worn down a bit. Now is this all taking place on one night? Is this our plan? It's like King of the Ring tournament here?
Oh, God, we didn't even get that far. No, it takes they fight 1 week, take a week off, and then they fight the following week.
You think, well, if you go by that logic, even these older guys, it takes them longer to...
Yes, recover.
To recover, yeah, so they're naturally going to be at a disadvantage there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going with that, Sean Payton.
Yeah.
All right, turn it back to the AFC.
All right, so we have here, if I'm correct, we're going Mike Tomlin versus...
Sean McDermott?
All the way down here. So Mike Tomlin versus Sean McDermott. I would have to go there. Again, McDermott, I think he's a little bit I think he's scrappy. I think he could hang in there. Ultimately, Mike Tomlin.
Agreed.
I think would take him over. I'm a big fan of Mike Tomlin and I think the grit he would bring to it there. I think he would just overwhelm McDermott. But McDermott, I give him credit for...
I could see Mike Tomlin being that guy before the fight, too. He's really intimidating. He just comes out. He's all amped up, man. He's just staring at you when you walk into the cage. He's ready to fuck you up before the bell even sounds.
It's like, I don't think he'd say much, though. He's not really strapped.
He's not saying anything. It's all mannerisms and everything that's on his face.
Yeah, like O'Brien before, he'd be trying to cut a promo or demean you. But I think Mike Tomlin would just be like, oh, man, like this guy, he's not saying anything, and that makes it even scarier looking at him. As Steelers head coaches, man, they're just stoic. All right, so then we have Anthony Lynn versus John Harbaugh.
Yep.
So we're going there. Yep. Again, John Harbaugh barely survived a very underwhelming Mike Mularkey in the first round, so I don't really give him much in the way of taking on Anthony Lynn there. So I think Anthony Lynn takes out John Harbaugh. Like I said, Jim Harbaugh, different John Harbaugh, I think he's out right now.
I think that's like the Mike McCarthy in the round that I did. He's good with that one and done. He got his win. He's cool with it.
Yeah, and John Harbaugh he can still probably whine about it after he loses this one, even though we know he's overmatched. We'll find something to complain about. All right, then we have Todd Bowles up next against Vance Joseph of the Broncos. So Todd Bowles, this is interesting because I think what comes into play here is Vance Joseph being a new coach, and I said the familiarity with these coaches. So Vance Joseph, I think around the same age as Todd Bowles, I assume, right? Maybe a little bit younger.
And Joseph's 44, Todd Bowles 53.
Todd Bowles is another guy. He looks young.
Yeah, he is.
Black don't crack.
Yeah,
Todd Bowles, man. He does. He's a young.
Got similar stats, 6'2", 200 pounds, 203. Once again, all this is according to Wikipedia, so please don't, light me up saying, I saw Todd Bowles and he's not a shade under 215. Sorry, it's just going off Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think Todd Bowles, I'm going to go with him in an upset here over Vance Joseph.
All right.
I like Todd Bowles a lot, and I don't know if he's going to survive this year coaching the Jets. That might be a harder task than fighting Vance Joseph. But I like him in a bit of an upset there.
All right. How's he get it done?
Todd Bowles, I think that would go in less than third round knockout, though.
Okay.
Because you're thinking that Todd Bowles, is he going to do just enough to hang on? And then, hey, this guy likes to live on the edge. He was prone for bringing Ryan Fitzpatrick back to quarterback for his second year. So I think he'll take the risk to try and knock out Vance Joseph.
Okay.
So,
yeah. It's comparable. It's comparable.
Yeah, very comparable. Finally, in the second round, we have Jack Del Rio versus Doug Marrone. Before, and with Del Rio previously talking about it, it's like, a couple of people seated higher than him, but man, I think Del Rio takes this. Former Jaguars coach versus the current Jaguars coach. I like Del Rio on that. I think he goes and knocks Marrone out. I think second round. I think Marrone has good size. Give him credit for hanging around second round. Del Rio,
he's a man on a mission.
Yeah, that's a great name too for Jack Del Rio. I like it.
That's what we're gonna call him. Jack, man on a mission. Del Rio, and then he comes out to the Men on a Mission theme song.
Are they going to rap him out, or are they going to the recording? You got to bring back, Mabel Mo, got Oscar. You create Oscar.
How awkward would that be, though? You have the original guys, and then you have Jack Del Rio. He's the one walking in front of them.
He has to wear like what Mabel would wear, the giant purple pants, and get the mohawk and dye blonde. Yeah, Jack. I don't recommend trying to suggest that the Jack Del Rio. I don't think he's going to be really up for that. But I think Del Rio would go in and definitely take out Marrone there. Despite being similar in stature, I think Del Rio takes that.
All right. And then there were 8. So we'll hop back to the NFC. How the hell did this happen? So we have the number 1 ranked Dan Quinn versus the number 9 ranked Pete Carroll.
Cinderella story.
Yeah, Cinderella dies right here.
Yeah.
I think Dan Quinn, his previous 2 fights, he's had 30-second finishes. I still think Pete Carroll lasts 1 round with him, and then he gets knocked the fuck out early in the second. No, let's say first strike thrown in the second round. And
Dan Quinn used to work for Pete Carroll. Maybe he's he's impressed by this too, I'm sure. He's like, I never thought he'd be fighting Pete Carroll here in the third round. Probably never thought he'd be in this tournament. NFL head coach would think he'd be above this, but he's in it. And I think he maybe takes a little easy on Pete, but I think Pete's like, no, I don't want him taking it easy. I mean, he gives him a shot near the end of that first round and kind of pisses him off. He's like, you know what, Pete? It's over now. He knocks him the fuck out in the second round.
All right. You threw that little ad in. It's a late shot after the bell by Pete Carroll before getting knocked out cold.
Not necessarily after the bell, but it's
Let's say it's after the bell, man. We're trying to make this
okay. All right. Quinn doesn't take too kindly to it. Yeah.
All right. So we got Dan Quinn moving on to the NFC Finals. Next, we have number 2 ranked seed Ron Rivera versus number 6 Sean Payton. Whew. I think Rivera gets it done here. Rivera still looks like a bad motherfucker. I think he goes all 3 rounds, though. And I think Payton, he kind of lives by the fighting mentality that he does with the Saints, all offense, no defense. So Rivera just peppers him for 3 rounds. He's all busted up, looking like Rocky after the fight. So it's ultimately going to go to Rivera. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just Payton just doesn't have enough to take out Rivera there. And again, Payton's another guy that, not that we're undercutting him because we weren't, but give him credit too, being in that Final Four. We kind of just don't really lay this out and think about who's your Final Four going to be in the NFC. I don't know if Sean Payton comes to mind right away, and Pete Carroll certainly doesn't. When you set it up like this, you certainly have a chance and other things come into play. All right, so we're here with Final Four for the AFC. We have Mike Tomlin versus Todd Bowles right here. So that's another Todd Bowles. And very impressive hanging around here till the end with Tomlin. I really tried to sell you on Todd Bowles last time, but I think in this round, I think Tomlin takes him, but it's going to take 3 rounds in the decision. I think Tomlin's going to comfortably win with a decision, but it's going to go 3 rounds. I think it's going to take a lot out of Tomlin, but I think he gets the win here over Todd Bowles.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I do for that one. All right, then we have Jack Del Rio coming up versus Anthony Lynn, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Jack Del Rio versus Anthony Lynn coming up. Yeah, you know, man, the more we've been talking about this, I'm loving Jack Del Rio. I just think Jack Del Rio, I don't think he would even consider that he would have a chance of losing. You know, Anthony Lynn has certain advantages on him. I just think Del Rio would come out. He would just fight. I think in that third round, he would get him down on the ground. I think he'd make him tap out. And Del Rio doesn't look like a submission specialist.
I think he just grounds him, man. Just a little bulldog choke, man.
Yeah.
Gets him in a guillotine, calls it a day, man. Just uses that strength.
Yeah, he's everything he has to get to the finals, and I think that's where it would be Jack Del Rio.
And I noticed when I was doing the seeding for the AFC, I was like, man, this is going to be a lot harder than it is for the AFC. The AFC, you have 1 and 2, and then, you know, just a whole bunch of guys after that. You look at the AFC, and you're like, man, I've got Jack Del Rio all the way down number 4 going in.
Yeah, this is like, I look at like basketball, you know, Eastern Conference versus Western Conference.
Yeah.
Western Conference, you have, we know Golden State's going to get to the finals, but you're still, have like really good teams. The East, it's just like, oh, just get it over with. Just put Cleveland there. And you might have the Boston hanging around there. I think that's how the NFC is, but the AFC, man, they're top heavy.
There's some killers. All right, so if we move into the finals for each of the different conferences. NFC, I'm very creative with mine. We have the number 1, Dan Quinn of the Atlanta Falcons against number 2, Ron Rivera. I think it's over for Rivera at this point. I think Quinn, he gets pissed off about his last fight where it took him 2 rounds to finish Pete Carroll. Comes out, knocks out Ron Rivera first round. What do you think?
I wouldn't say first round, but I think Dan Quinn would win by knockout eventually. I give
Dan
Rivera
Quinn
a lot of
just
respect.
looks like a guy, if you would say that he was a criminal before a head coach, no one's going to argue with him.
Dan Quinn's a guy that I don't think he gets that angry on the sidelines, but I remember getting really fired up. They had the no-call pass interference, Richard Sherman and Julio Jones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, like Dan Quinn's kind of scary when he gets pissed. But he doesn't look like it that often. And yeah, just imagine like what he did to his hotel room after the Super Bowl when he got home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can go easy on the Falcons. I don't mean to do that, but he really goes, and I think he turns it on here and takes Rivera out. But
And I think Rivera being Riverboat Ron, he tries some stupid shit that ultimately gets him in trouble. And Dan Quinn, you'd have to fight a perfect fight if you're Ron Rivera to beat him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Rivera, again, no shame in losing to Dan Quinn in the finals for the NFC.
Not at all. So we have Quinn winning the NFC by first round KO. And then if we move on to the AFC.
Yeah, we're down to Mike Tomlin and Jack Del Rio. And I don't know if you noticed when we were talking before, I dropped a little hint there for you the last Mike Tomlin fight where I might be going with this one. Mike Tomlin won all 3 rounds, won by decision. But that took a lot out of him. Okay. And when we get here, I think Tomlin is probably the favorite going into this, but I think a lot of people are saying after this performance in the tournament and Jack Del Rio, you gotta get, maybe a few more people have been won over by him, and I think I am as more we've talked about this. I think Jack Del Rio and Tomlin, good old JR Jim Ross would say, it's going to be a slobber knocker. And I think we're going to go to the very end there. Neither of these guys will dare be knocked out by the other, but I think Del Rio gets them on decision.
I'm not even going to argue with you there. The AFC was so tough. I could see any of those top 4 guys, whether it was Tomlin, Lynn, Joseph, or Del Rio. Mm-hmm. Like, I was interested to see which way you would go, but whoever you ended up winning that particular bracket, I was absolutely cool with. Those are guys that, I think they're killers, man.
Yeah, you look at the difference between the 4 seed winning here, Del Rio, and the AFC. The 4 seed in the NFC was
let's go back.
Was that Payton?
Shawn
McVay. I mean, just like the difference, like Jack Del Rio would murder Shawn McVay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with him coaching the Raiders and living in Oklahoma. He would murder him, but he would. He would take him out.
All right, so before we get to the finals, let's just call this out. If there was a battle royal between the NFC and the AFC, I'd definitely put my money on the AFC. Yeah,
there would have to be some type of, it has to be almost Royal Rumble format where the numbers be drawn random. Only the NFC would have a chance, maybe gang up, try to throw the big man, Red tries to gang up, throw Del Rio out, or Vance Joseph or Mike Tomlin.
I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, so the Battle Royal, no, they don't have a chance. It's right away, it's just Jason Garrett and Kyle Shanahan run to a corner and Del Rio just palming both of them and throw them over the top. Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to our championship of our makeshift. Who is the baddest head coach in the NFL? From the NFC, we have number 1 seed Dan Quinn of the Atlanta Falcons And from the AFC, we have Jack Del Rio of the Oakland Raiders. I'll toss it over to you first. What do you think?
Man.
Actually, let's go on the stat.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, they're pretty matched stat-wise. So
he's got, again, Dan Quinn. I apologize if I'm wrong with this, but I believe Dan Quinn was a linebacker in college. Someone feel free to comment, tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. I'm wrong often.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay, well, okay. Sounds
Hopefully
good,
that wouldn't cost
me
$1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah, if that was the question, your phone a friend was me there, I would tell you he was a linebacker, but I wouldn't be sure.
We can check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dan Quinn and Jack Del Rio here. Much like the Del Rio and Mike Tomlin matchup, I think that this is another one where these guys will refuse to be knocked out. I think they're going to go all the way there to the finals. And I think Dan Quinn has a slight edge over Jack Del Rio. And that pains me to say because I've really been sold on Jack Del Rio here going through. I think Dan Quinn takes
defensive
him
lineman.
Defensive end or defensive tackle?
It says defensive lineman according to Wikipedia.
Defensive end, I could argue. Maybe because you said 3-4 stands up outside linebacker. He's got to be tough to play on the front seven on defense anyway. So Dan Quinn and Jack Del Rio there. I think Dan Quinn gets the win over Del Rio. Great matchup in the finals, though.
I'm with you. I think Dan Quinn gets the W. My only fear is that he's up 2-0, and then he drops the ball after the second round, much like he did in the Super Bowl. But
you're not getting less.
He's actually in control of this situation. It's not. He's not going up against Tom Brady with this. So I'm going to say Quinn probably goes all 3 rounds.
Yeah,
takes it.
I think here the TripleF podcast is not going to have many subscribers for Falcons fans after this. Thanks to us, but I'm just here for this.
Your team bombed in the Super Bowl, but the head coach won this makeshift contest. So
that means a lot more. You have to realize that there's a credit. You know how much thought we put in this? This is years and years of thought.
We're being absolutely serious right now. We've thought about this for 2 different years. We're I think it all started out NCAA tournament. We're man, what would happen if we did a battle royal with the NFL head coaches or something?
I mean, how long ago did this start? Because I was thinking
I was doing my website, so that was 2 years ago.
Okay, I was thinking it might have even been before that we had thrown that out one time, Maybe. But then we talked about it a little bit deeper.
Serious thought started 2 years ago.
Yes, as for doing this. And once I received the email about setting up the brackets, I'm like, this is for real. This is actually happening now. We're gonna do this.
I'm not fucking around anymore. I gotta run with these ideas. I'm getting old. I gotta get these out there.
You don't want to be on your deathbed and think, I never did that MMA tournament of NFL coaches. My life has not been worth it at all.
All right, so this year's NFL tournament, this is something you can do every year too.
Yeah, with new coaches coming in, coaches getting older.
Yeah.
Maybe I get a lower opinion of Jason Garrett and Kyle Shanahan and their manliness. That could always happen. Yeah. Maybe Jason Garrett stops pushing guys this year and just gives them a slight little shoulder rub or something.
And he lasts or he actually throws a punch in the round instead of running around for 9 minutes. But that's besides the point. All right, so this year's champion, we have Dan Quinn of the Atlanta Falcons. I think he would be the favorite going into next year as well. But if you agree, disagree, do so in the comment section. We'll get back to you. And we're going to leave again with my man Shawn Smith out of Philly and his new album, The Shawn Smith Story. So check that out. And thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
For milk, and I'm only 5'6", yeah, I'm sure the shit. But I've been down for the dough like Shaquille O'Neal. Only into making figures. You little prick, I ain't playing with you. And we ain't on no Hulk Hogan type time, but damn, I'm saying, nigga. You already know I got a ton of grind. I've been grinding in the city every single summertime. Call me Pootie Tank, whip you like a son of mine. I ain't signed up for no pity, never been a one of kind. Never been a whack nigga, even in my younger time. Niggas try to kill me, but it's too late. And I ain't even got a damn ball spot, but I should, nigga, cause I'm too paid. I might just shave my head, wear a wig, and make cash just to say I'm too paid. I might just learn to do root canals. Take a guess why, niggas too fake.
You can throw a shot at me, you can throw a record at me, but you don't really want to go there. You don't really want to go there, you know what I mean? Don't want to do that. It's an automatic loss. My brother, he says, no matter what, keep it street. No matter where the record business is going or what's trendy or what's hot, always stay where the streets are.
We all thinking we can earn stripes, tryna off-white like Virgil. Going in on these rap niggas and I ain't even got a curfew. That was mad ridiculous. But I just black on niggas, no racial profile. Niggas get exposed every day for being fake niggas like Rachel Dolezal. Hate me so wild, but still I'm so proud. Niggas still have been hysterical. They pray for vocals to taint the soul child, but still I'm feeling so imperial. I bang about each other, flames all together, spill and kill them through the stereo. I chain awful clever king Joffrey Jeffers niggas feeling my material. For y'all new niggas coming out, that's dissing me cause y'all want a clout. See the big difference between me and you is I run everything but my mouth. I'm a fucking shark on a spaceship. Niggas need to learn to be more like mimes. Make a couple moves and don't say shit. Niggas gossip about me, that's gay shit. Niggas hear the house and wanna party with us. People I don't really kill and play with. Niggas trying to shine so they not as kind. I don't hear no hater, I'm just trying to grind. I don't know if God gave me a lot of time, man. And I ain't never referee a football game, but I just flag niggas when they get out of line. Oh, man.
But what are you waiting for?